it feels nice to have a live stream. Well, let me check to see if I'm actually telling the truth here. But I'm saying it feels nice to have a live stream with where my phone actually connects to my Wi-Fi. It never did before, or it would, but it would just disconnect after a couple seconds. So that's the reason why my live streams were all choppy and potato quality before, was because uh, I had to do it over AT&T's network. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Yes. Who the hell needs like crazy live streaming setups? Like a cell phone on Wi-Fi looks fine to me. I have like a pimple. Hey, whoever showed up, thanks for showing up. From wearing a face mask while doing construction work downstairs. The awkward start of live streams where like no one's here and I'm just being an idiot by myself. I have my laptop down here. That's what I'm looking at. Two people here now. Awesome. Say something in chat so I don't feel so alone. Oh, now there's one person here. Scared him away. Or I was just too boring for him. Let's see what's going on zerohedge.com. Virologist who told Fauci SARS-CoV-2 potentially engineered just nuked his Twitter account. Yeah, it's crazy, you know, like now, like after the election and everything, people are finally starting to wake up that COVID-19 originated in Wuhan in China. Like it's crazy how the Democrats kept pushing everything off and like, oh no, you're racist for saying that it came from China and just trying to dismiss it and all that. Like it was so clear that like all the cases and everything originated in China. You can see it spreading from Wuhan and they're trying to dismiss it and everything. So uh I guess that would be the benefit for having a better live stream setup is I can have OBS running with screen with screen capture in the background. But one day, one day, downstairs, building my office, building my house, and everything like that. Building my house. I'm not building a house. I'm remodeling downstairs in my house. And once that's done, I'll get in my office set up, and we can have the best YouTube channel that has with the best YouTube channel with the least amount of supporters. Janet Yellen admits inflation is about to surge. Uh, says it will be a plus for society. So I don't know if I made a video about this. I don't think I did. Maybe I talked about it a little bit. But with inflation, there's so many things uh, that are bad investments because of inflation now. Uh, Let me pull up. I sent an email to my ex girlfriend's father like a month ago or whatever, talking about it a little bit. So I'm just gonna pull that up to reference for notes. Uh, oh, and how about some guy? He left a comment on my one of my YouTube videos, and I approved the comment, but it's not showing up. He's like, "Oh, you buying your house is such a bad investment. You bought in the bubble. You made like the stupidest financial move. Like, blah blah blah." Like, the financial move didn't even matter to me because like I'm a multimillionaire before and after buying the house. So the money that I put into the house, like I'm still okay no matter what, no matter if the value of the house goes down or up or whatever. Like I'm still okay if I lose money on the house or whatever. Uh, Looking at Zillow, my house is now worth $2,500 more than I paid for it anyway because uh, the I don't want to say that the value of my house went up, and this is what I was talking about with inflation. When you print more money, it lowers the value of everything else so that now that one item is worth more money, but it's not a more valuable item. So that's when you, let me, before I get into another topic or whatever, uh, I think what's really realistically what's going to happen with houses is that inflation is going to ramp up, and that's going to keep the housing market from collapsing. It's going to keep the bubble from popping, so to speak. And that's what's going to happen with stocks and whatever, too. And that's why at the beginning of COVID-19, when you saw stock prices boosting up and everything, that's because everyone knew that inflation was coming and that's going to drive up stock prices, not because those stocks are more valuable. Like some things like Amazon, there's a lot more people using Amazon, so there's a lot more profits coming into Amazon and everything like that. But but inflation artificially raises the value of things. So that's likely what's going to happen with my house is that investment wise, the price of my house is going to go up as inflation ramps up. My house will be worth more money. But is my house really more valuable if I sell my house? So, in order for an investment to make sense, is your house needs to, whatever you sell needs to bought to whatever you sell needs to be able to purchase more than it did than the money did when you first uh, bought it. So I don't know. Say this guitar. Say that 10 years ago I paid like $300 for this guitar. Well, I could buy $300 worth of stuff back then. So I can buy $300 worth of gold or $300 worth of computer parts or whatever. So say like so 10 years from now, now the guitar is worth $400. Well, can I still buy that $400 or $300 worth of gold? Uh, am I am I really making sense right now? Let me know in the comments if I'm making sense. But you have to, in order for an investment to make sense, you need to be able to buy more. You need to be able to buy, once you sell the asset, you need to be able to buy more than you did when you first got that asset. So with my house, am I going to be able to buy? All right, so here's a good example. So 10 years from now, say my house is worth like 450,000. Am I going to be able to buy a better house than this with that $450,000? Am I going to be able to buy 100? I paid 315 for this house, so $185,000. Am I going to be able to buy a house that in 2021, am I going to be able to buy getting my words all jumbled up. So in, let's say 10 years from now, I sell my house for $450,000. Am I going to be able to buy a house in 2031 equivalent to what a 450,000 house in 2021 would be? So would I be able to buy a house $185,000 more than this house costs in this year, if that makes sense? So what's likely going to happen with inflation, prices of everything goes up. So when I sell this house in 10 years, or not saying I'm going to sell this house in 10 years, but when I sell this house, I'm probably just going to be able to buy this the equivalent type of house that I bought because the prices of everything goes up. And with inflation hitting, that makes a lot of investments not really make sense. Well, one thing, so one example, like thinking about cars, I don't think cars are good investments at all. Yeah, there's probably some special cars that you buy and then like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, they're worth a lot more money. Like the Nissan GTR, like the cars from the Fast and the Furious, cars that say hello in chat. I know we have 2 viewers now. Uh, so cars, definitely hypercars. I don't hypercars, I think, and also thanks for stopping by, Dean. Uh, I'll get into hypercars in a minute, but a lot of cars that a lot of investments, like I was saying, investments have to be worth more than you have to be able to buy more with your investment when you sell it than you initially did when you than you initially could buy when you purchased it. Uh, and really, with inflation, uh, now my brain's getting into a fog again. All right, so with cars, thanks for agreeing and understanding like what I'm saying and everything, because sometimes my brain just like I don't know if I'm explaining everything as good as I can. 3 viewers, yeah. Uh, so also with I wanted a Tesla, but that's too much crypto to move. Tesla's that's a whole other topic too. Tesla's I don't even know how everyone was like, oh, Teslas are like the big thing. Like rich people have Teslas, and Teslas are like a status symbol and all that stuff. Uh, I guess maybe like a couple years ago or something because they were like the new thing on the market and all that stuff. Uh, but now you have all these other companies coming in like Ford and Chevy and BMW all releasing electric cars, which bring competition to Tesla now. So Tesla, I don't think Tesla's going to have a huge market share in the future. I don't think Tesla stock is going to be worth a lot in the future and keep going up in value and all that stuff because there's a lot more competition now. Elon Musk and Tesla can't just get away uh, with uh, selling shitty cars. And I'm not saying their cars are shitty, but their autopilot sucks. There's been like tons of accidents, like really serious accidents happen with Teslas. Uh, there's a lot of Elon Musk, Tesla has to like step up their game now when there's more competition and all that stuff. But back to what I was saying with cars as investments, you also have to let's see. This message is held for review. I'll read it on air. So Tesla's autopilot is already safer than a human. Yeah, that's not true. There's like reports every single day, or not every single day, like a couple of them a month. I read about them hitting ambulances and police and all that stuff. You really don't see reports every single day, and maybe that's the news. Like, maybe it's like bias with the news or whatever, to where they're not showing how many people hit police officers with cars every day. But so that's a thing. But I've driven the new Mustang Mach-E. It's shit compared. I think it will, man. They are a software company, self-driving itself. Uh, I don't know what you mean by I think it will. Uh, but they definitely do have an advantage uh, as far as having so many years of being a software company. Of I think it would be a good company to. I don't know. I personally, like I said, I don't think so. I think as uh, more companies build electric cars, they're going to be learning more and developing more to be able to compete with Tesla. That's just my stance on it. Uh, but what I was saying is Tesla has all these years of development and of research and development into self-driving cars and into autopilot, into battery technology and the Tesla software. I haven't driven a Tesla. I drove a Tesla in 2012, I think it was. Maybe 2000, maybe it was 2013. Uh, yeah, competition is great for consumers, uh, not so much great for stock prices. Uh, so yeah, I drove a Tesla back in 2013. So my opinions on driving a Tesla aren't really valuable or viable because it's been like 9 years, 8 years since I've driven one. But forgot where I was going. No one has self-driving too. Uh, there's so as far as self-driving, and also that's another thing. Self-driving isn't exclusive to electric cars. That can be implemented into gas cars too. Uh, sorry, I'm reading your comments and getting distracted. Uh, Let me turn off comments on my phone and then just keep them on my laptop. I don't know if I can hide all chat messages. Type something again. I want to see if I hid your chat messages from everyone in public or if I just hid them from viewing from my phone. Uh, yeah, I have a Challenger SRT with auto cruise. Yeah, there's like my BMW. I think if I come up on a car or an object too fast, it'll hit the brakes. I've never experienced that yet. Yeah, okay, it's hidden from my phone, but it's still showing up in for public. So with my BMW, I have a 2018 BMW M2. It will give me like beeping alerts when I'm speeding up or coming up on an object in front of me. And it should, I haven't experienced it myself, but according to the manual and everything, it should slam on the brakes and stop when it's too, when I get too close and I'm about to have an accident and all that. Uh, but yeah, what I was saying is like the technology for self-driving cars and everything like that, that can be implemented into gasoline cars. The thing is, though, is that the way that the government is going is that they're disincentivizing gasoline powered cars, artificially raising gas prices too to disincentivize gasoline powered cars. So electric cars are going to be the future forcibly. Uh, I don't really think I don't think a lot of people want electric cars. I don't think electric cars are really great for the environment either because there's still uh, a lot of uh, there's still a lot of waste or energy consumption in order to create the batteries, and also lithium. You need lithium to make the batteries too. So lithium is a finite resource, just like gasoline is a finite resource. Uh, so so prices of lithium will just go up and everything like that too. And then there's also with electric cars, uh, batteries don't last forever. Heat ruins batteries. A lot of people think it's the cold that ruins batteries because in the winter that's when people most likely have dead batteries in their car because the battery doesn't have enough amps to crank over the car. What's really happening there is that it's the heat from the summer degrading the battery. So then once winter comes and you need more cranking amps to turn over the car in winter because everything's cold, those cranking amps aren't there because it was degraded from the heat from summer and everything like that. So with Tesla's batteries, I don't know how much it costs to replace them. I last that I read, which was like many months ago, was like 10 to 12 grand to replace a battery. No one spends 10 to 12 grand fixing their car. Like everyone that I ever talked to is like, oh, I have this crazy car bill. Like the mechanic wants $300 to fix like my wheel bearing or whatever. Like no one has 10 to 12 grand in their bank account just saved up waiting for their car uh, to replace the battery in their car. Uh, Electric cars are so much better, bro, and I own a SRT Challenger. Uh, we were mostly other metals to make batteries now too. I don't think so. If you can link an article the other uh, to other materials being used to make batteries, I don't think that that's the case. Uh, I just read an article a couple weeks ago about uh, battery companies buying up a ton of lithium and everything. But that battery replacement is every 20 years. Uh, I don't think it's every 20 years, but also you still have to you still have to replace the battery at the end of the day, just like an engine would be. Engines aren't an every 20-year thing. As long as you keep your engine well lubricated and change the oil, an engine will last forever. Like there's not like wearable parts on an engine, and engines also you can replace just like if you can replace single parts on the engine. A battery you can't replace single parts on a battery. You have to replace a battery as a whole. But if like your like camshaft wears out or your piston wears out or whatever, you can replace single things on an engine. But as long as you take care of all that stuff, uh, it lasts indefinitely. The reason that uh, that you don't see old engines on the road is because, well, one of the reasons is because newer engines come out that are more efficient and produce more power for the same amount of gasoline, like with the invention of turbochargers and superchargers and that stuff. Cobalt mostly. Uh, Let me see. Energy.gov, I'm reading from. Uh, let's see. So, reducing reliance on cobalt for lithium ion batteries. So, this sounds like cobalt is used in conjunction with lithium ion. Background. Lithium ion batteries are the ubiquitous power supplier of all consumer electronics in all power tools, and as many companies and countries pursue greenhouse gas emission reduction goals, a growing proportion of the global light-duty automobile fleet. To work, these energy storage devices must have a place for the lithium ions to move and when the battery is working, to move to when the battery is working. This is the cathode, and it's also the piece of lithium ion. It's also the place that lithium ions come from when the battery is charged in order to get enough energy from the batteries. Lithium ion Lithium ion battery cathodes are made of various combinations of transition metals and oxygen in particular arrangement. The best combination for many energy storage needs involves a cathode structure that is largely composed of cobalt iron. So it seems like the cobalt is just used for the cathode here. Uh, Even with the rise of cell phone use, the reliance on cobalt had not been a major hindrance since only a small amount of cobalt was needed for these devices. Electrifying the worldwide automobile fleet with lithium ion batteries, however, changes the situation significantly. I'll link this article in chat. It's just like the first one that popped up on Google too when I searched, so it's not like I'm cherry picking articles. Let's see. Just the processors improve battery, just like processors improve batteries will improve in efficiency. It's not like, uh, I was talking about this, I didn't release this video yet, but I got a new washer and dryer, and there's an eco mode for the washer and dryer, and all it does is it lowers the heat for the washer, but then runs it longer on the spin cycle, so it runs longer. It runs longer and uses colder air to dry the clothes, and in my opinion, that's not really, and these are just my thoughts. I haven't plugged it into a kilowatt and measured the electricity or anything like that. But it takes, my thoughts are that it takes the same amount of energy to dry. So, say you have a wet shirt, it's going to take the same amount of energy doing it at like high heat for half an hour or medium heat for an hour and a half or whatever. It seems like, I know like, what I was thinking was like how energy isn't created, or so that's what I was saying with processors. It's not really, a battery's not really getting more efficient. It's just kind of working things differently. Uh, what I'm thinking about with my dryer, with drying a shirt, is energy isn't created or destroyed. So I don't know how much that relates to a shirt, but say like, you guys get what I'm saying. It's just, it seems to me like it takes the same amount of energy no matter what to dry a shirt. Does that transfer does that translate to automobiles? Would, no matter what, it takes the same amount, no matter what, it takes the same amount of energy to drive 50 miles if it's a gas car or an electric car? I don't know. Uh, so engines are capped at petrol energy. Uh, engines are capped at petrol's energy stored. I think if you want to explain more about that, so gas engine will die. Yeah, I agree. The gas engine will die, but I don't think it's for uh, any. I don't think there's any benefit to electric cars as far as they're not as far as them being cheaper to run or reducing emissions or energy use or anything like that. I think gas engines will die just because that's the direction the government is pushing everything. Uh, but look at the chemistry Tesla's using. Uh, Battery chemistry is different for every battery. That's not true. Yeah, there's different batteries like the NiCad batteries. I guess they're nickel cadmium. Yeah, there's different battery technologies, but like the lithium ion batteries are the top of the line batteries that everyone's using. Uh, it's not like every battery is different. Gas energy's density will not get better. Batteries are getting orders of magnitude of more power per year. I agree that batteries are getting more powerful and all that, but it's not taking less energy to produce a battery. You still have to do all the mining for lithium and creating the batteries and all that stuff, and there's a lot of waste uh, created too when you're making these batteries. So back to that article. Cobalt is considered the highest material supply chain risk for electric vehicles in the short and medium term. So this was published April 6, 2021, so it's not even an old article or anything. Uh, Electric vehicle batteries can have up to 20 kilograms of cobalt in each 100 kilowatt hour pack. Uh, right now, cobalt can make up to 20% of the weight of the cathode in lithium ion batteries. There are economic, security, and societal drivers to reduce cobalt content. Cobalt is mined as a secondary material from mixed nickel and copper ores. This means the supply is not independent of other commodity businesses, and introducing new recovery projects is expensive. Moreover, the United States does not have large reserves of cobalt, uh, so that's more business taken outside of the country. And the extraction and early stage processing is concentrated in a small number of countries outside the United States. Therefore, the United States is looking to secure sources of cobalt to drastically reduce the cobalt content in lithium uh, ion batteries. Or therefore, the United States is looking to secure sources of cobalt to drastically reduce the cobalt content in lithium ion batteries, or both. So they're either trying to reduce the amount of cobalt used in these batteries, uh, or trying to buy up cobalt from places outside the United States. So that's the other thing with batteries. If a lot of these resources, like with gas, we have a lot of gas in the United States. So that keeps money in the United States instead of exporting our money out to places that have lithium and cobalt and whatever. So this article, it's not too long, but I think like the point's already made from it. Uh, Batteries are getting worse. A lithium cell phone battery is completely different than they're not different. Lithium batteries only work in one way. They're not different. They're different sizes, but they're still the same composition of materials, and they still work in the same way. If you want to post an article about the batteries being different or whatever, I'm happy to read it. A lithium battery means nothing. It mostly other things, and cobalt is mined here in Missouri. It doesn't matter where cobalt is mined if a majority of it is outside of the United States. That's all that matters. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? Oh yeah, Janet Yellen admits inflation is about to surge, says it will be a plus for society. Uh, Last week, when Biden released his $6 trillion budget, we asked if it was a joke that the Biden budget saw just 2.1 percent inflation in 20. That's the other crazy thing about Biden's budget, and they're all like, "Oh, we believe in inflation. Inflation is good for a society and all that," but they stopped they stopped this budget at $6 trillion for inflation and everything. If you really believe that printing money is good for society, print fucking 600 trillion. Like, come on, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, stick to your fucking goals. Stick to your beliefs. If you really think that that printing money is good for society, print money and see what happens. Fast forward this weekend when Fed Chair Janet Yellen addressed the rhetorical concern and following the G7 Finman meeting in London, blah, 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 imposed 15% corporate tax. What the pathologically misleading Bezos post meant, I don't feel like reading all this stuff. Top Pennsylvania senator says he supports election audit. Well, that'd be great because I used to live in Pennsylvania. I was there for the election, for the voting, and good things didn't happen. I didn't witness very good things. A top senator in Pennsylvania, do they not say his name? A top senator in Pennsylvania said Saturday that he supports an audit of the 2020 presidential election. I support the call for an election audit in order to answer any lingering questions that still remain about the fairness of the elections. This is the best path forward to address legitimate concerns. So it seems like, so as well as constitutes who voted to re-elect Donald Trump, as well as all Pennsylvanians, said Senator David Argall. So that's who. And it's a Republican who chairs the Pennsylvania State Senate. This is just one of many election reform efforts, which I hope to see improved here in the next few weeks. So I'm not sure. The way that I'm reading this is he thinks the election was fair, but wants an audit to address any concerns that people have. That's the way that I'm taking it. But yeah, what was it? Fulton County, there's now records of them destroying evidence, destroying voting records to prevent the audit from happening after the audit was approved. Argyle had said he was reviewing the pros and cons of a potential audit. Spokesperson for the senator declined to say whether he had spoken to State Senator Doug Mastriano or Chris Dush, who recently returned from touring the forensic audit taking place in Maricopa County, Arizona. I'll link. All I'm saying, bro, Tesla's like 12 companies. I don't know how Tesla's 12 companies. I know Elon Musk owns like the Boring Company and some other companies. I don't think they're part of Tesla though. I wouldn't start shorting it anytime soon. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't short anything, but yeah, I don't think Tesla's gonna fare too well. Uh, What's next? More than one third of small businesses in jeopardy of closing this summer, as small businesses complain that it's never been harder for them to hire workers, including, according to the recent NFIB survey, many are facing growing pressure to survive. The BMW dealership that I used to go to, there were two service managers, and I was really close to the one service manager because he worked there forever. And then during my time being there, he went through. There were two other. There was one girl that worked there. She left, and then another guy showed up and started working there. He worked there for a couple months, I think, throughout maybe like 6 months or something like that, and he got another job and left. But he was saying that it's so hard to hire people because because want to get what I'm saying correct. He was just saying that that BMW doesn't want to increase prices, increase wages or whatever, and I told him like it seems like that's what BMW has to do. Companies have to increase wages because the government is kind of forcing companies to increase wages by paying everyone else more to be unemployed. So, so basically, with wages, wages operate via the free market. And if someone doesn't want to work for $15 an hour or whatever, if someone doesn't want to work for what the job is paying, well, then that person says no, and then, well, they can just hire a new person who does want to work for that amount of money. But when you start paying everyone in the country to be unemployed, well, now it gives all these people leverage to where they're like, well, I don't want to work because I make more money on unemployment. So now companies have to raise their wages to attract people to work again. So what Joe Biden is doing is uh, artificially giving workers more leverage for pay than uh, what's really existent. And I think companies know this. I think I think companies will probably lower their wages in the future if they do end up doing that. Uh, Laugh out loud, Trump was a shit president. Uh, why do you think that? There's some stuff that I see Trump say and do that I don't agree with, but I don't even know what. I don't think I said anything to where I'm in favor of everything that Trump does or whatever. Uh, well, one thing, when I was watching parts of the Trump's GOP rally that he had in, was it North Carolina yesterday? His opening stance was talking about how when he was president, he made more jobs for women and minorities and all that. And a big thing that I see, like, still no one talks about white people or anything like that. Uh, it's all still focused on women and minorities. So it's still, there's no president that's helping white people. There's still the issue with white people losing jobs to uh, everything else that the government's doing and all that. So that's one thing that I don't agree on with Trump doing. And he I don't know if this was passed or if he just uh, announced this plan. What it looks like to me now is that he announced this plan before. Uh, so Trump announced this Trump's Platinum Plan for Black Americans, and he announced it like right before the election happened and everything. And it looks to me like that was just to get votes from Black Americans, but it was like I forget how much it was, like a 500 million or $5 billion package that went to black businesses and all that stuff. So Trump was still offering the same unfair stuff that Joe Biden is getting in trouble for now, like discriminatory uh, relief plans and discriminatory plans that favor people based on race. So that's one thing that I don't like about Trump. I always get nervous playing guitar in front of people. But that is what the title of this video is. Alright, enough of that. It just feels weird. Alright, I don't have too much more that I feel like talking about. I'm kind of pooped out on this live stream. Uh, if anyone else has anything they want to talk about or whatever, leave a comment. But in like 5 minutes, or at 8:53. So in 4 minutes, I'm gonna end the stream. Was hoping like some of my regular viewers were here that view my videos. I could have showed you guys downstairs in my house and all the construction that I have going on. I've been doing all the work myself, like ripping up the tiles of the floor and all that. It's crazy, crazy work. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up and talking with me, and goodbye.